All right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are playing deltagreen tonight, and Steven's a little bitch. I'm just going to say it. Just needs to be said. Apologies to those of you in our new Discord for the double announcement. Steven.
I think there were like three.
There were like three, but two of them were tagged for everyone, and then he just anyhow.
I make no denial.
I know you you absolutely don't, because you know it's true. Anyhow, how's it going? Happy Friday. We're playing some deltagreen, continuing our campaign here. See how it goes in Silo, North Carolina. A couple quick announcements before we get going. We have a new Discord. For a couple years now, we've been hanging out with our buddies over on the Defenders of Cobalt. We've opened up our own. We'll have the link in the description if you're watching this later on YouTube, and we'll also drop it ad nauseum within the Twitch channel that we are currently streaming in. Come hang out with us so that you can get double tagged on posts by Steven because he's a petty man.
I make no denial.
That's what you're missing. He makes no denial. You can come meet Boars, our wonderful bot, who Steven's also gaslighting into thinking that they're best friends. It's very weird.
Yeah, you can always ask Boris who his best friend is, and it will always be me.
It is very much not you. Then he just doesn't even know you. Doesn't even know you.
We're very close friends.
Yeah. I don't believe any of these types of things. All right. What else do we have? Oh, we have games. Our buddy Pete over at Garbuck Games has got Heroic Deeds up on Kickstarter right now for Zine Quest. Go ahead and go take a look at that. We're going to be starting to play that on Tuesday. We're going to do a couple weeks of a preview, but it is up right now. You can go see it. You can back it. You can take a look at it. So go ahead and have a look at that. And our buddy Chuck is making a game. It's up on Kickstarter. You can actually remind yourself, but the actual campaign starts on Valentine's Day. So we got some friends out there making some cool games. If only we had somebody cool in our group that was making a game, but we don't. Anyhow, let's move on and go. I don't know, man. This is
bang bang, shots fired.
Just shooting left and right. Which makes sense considering what your guys' plan was. I just heard your plan. It's great. Let's go ahead and introduce some characters and we'll get started. Long, tell us about Agent Inferno.
Yes, I'm playing Luca Dante, former DEA agent. I usually curl my mustache. It's only half a mustache now. I got a nice scar on my lip from previous wound.
It's only half a mustache? When you say half a mustache, do you mean like...
It's like a slit because my lip was cut.
Okay.
So I got like
so
half
you have like
a curl
a little...
now.
Okay, got it. Half a curl.
Yeah.
Okay. Gonna have to go in to edit a little picture of yours. Okay, fantastic. Next up, Melissa, tell us about Agent Fuller House.
So, Agent Tamara Fuller is a medical examiner. And when presented with situations in which she has the opportunity to be a medical examiner, she will take those opportunities to be a medical examiner and do medical examiner things. And she may hope that after the fact, other people might cover for the story that she shares about being a medical examiner and doing medical examiner things. She's new to the group, so she does not yet know that that kind of cover for those kinds of stories is not guaranteed to come. Lesson
likely
learned.
It's because Agent Fuller's previous cell, which is I'm sure all dead, was somewhat professional, but that's just not how G-Cell operates. It's just not how. It's not how is it? No. You don't. We don't get each other's backs. That's not how it works. Just ask. What was the author's name again? What was his name? Oh yeah. Just ask Declan G.W. Ellis. And
we already forgot
Melissa's first character.
I was gonna call him Deckard Cain.
Deckard Cain.
Wrong game.
Shit, a wild edition. Okay. Next up, Steven, tell us about Agent Price.
Agent Price, Vincent Palmer, ex-CIA. He's a fixer, and part of his thing was deny till you die, and he will continue to deny until he dies.
Okay, I mean, I can make that happen, no problem. There's various valves and buttons I could press to make that happen a little bit quicker. See how it goes. And then finally, we've got Ashley playing Agent Weaver, who we know as Lisa Young, but Agent Weaver, as we're being professional now. So Ashley, tell us about Agent Weaver.
Agent Weaver previously was a FEMA program manager. She lost her job, and one of her motivations is to get the job done. And so that's currently her goal. There's some suspicious stuff happening with this kid named Danny that she's going to look into, and then she's going to try and meet up with Agent Fuller and then catch up with Inferno and Price.
That sounds great. What if Danny kills you, though? What if that happens? Steven, I see that you are continuing to gaslight Boars in the Discord.
As long as Danny is not a coyote shifter and I am not haunted by a ghost and led up a mountain, I think I should be okay.
We were talking about that last night. We brought that up. Yeah. You're like, oh, yeah, that one, that the hospital where we killed Ash's character. It's great.
If Danny kills Weaver, that just means we have a new member.
I become
works,
Danny.
Right?
Yeah, that's exactly how it works.
Danny Phantom.
Okay. So let's get started. Last session, G-Cell, as we've come to call you all, you began your investigations into Silo, North Carolina. You did some things, which included going through this leftover wreckage of the Witch's Roost, which is Silo's only museum, basically. Which collapsed during one of these recent crazy violent storms that drew deltagreen's attention. You also know that it killed the owner of this place called Crispin Hart. Later, you all together traveled up the nearby mountain to take a peek at the Bowman radar station. But you stopped. You didn't actually go beyond the fences. You just saw the fences. You kind of pulled back at that point. You did get a peek at. They do had some armed guards and such. The next morning, Agent Price, you noticed a local teenager by the name of Toby Fletcher spying on you, having moments earlier dropped this garbage bag by your Toyota Avalon. And when you looked inside, you found that there were work clothes from the radar station, a cell phone, and what looked like ash consistent with cremation. Toby claimed to have found it along the river. Then you browbeat the shit out of him into showing you where it was. And then Agent Weaver eventually came along and kind of smoothed things over as Toby was asking for his lawyer at a certain point. Toby mentioned how one of his friends, Danny, kind of spied on the situation once or twice, but then when Lisa pressed for more information, he didn't tell her where you could find Danny. Agent Inferno, meanwhile, you spent some time preparing the uniform that was in that bag, and you start asking around town about the folks in that radar station. You learned that no one from up on the mountain had come down to the town since the storms began. They've been staying up there. Later, we had Agent Fuller. She went over to the Silos clinic, and you had a run-in with a Dr. Mitchell Barnes, the town's only full-time doctor. And he caught you performing a autopsy on both Crispin Hart and Diane Croft without any permission to do so. You presented a phony FBI badge. We know it's phony. And the doctor eventually backed down. But insisted that you reveal your identity and your intentions to the town constable Clayton Harrow. Agents Inferno and Price, this is everyone's favorite part. When given the opportunity to cover for your FBI story, Fuller, they did not do so, and they were shocked to learn that you were the FBI. Now, despite the risk that you took to sort of investigate these bodies, you actually found nothing strange or out of the ordinary. They just look like people who were sadly crushed by the wreckage that happened in their homes. And as the session,
disappointing.
It wasn't disappointing for me. It was so satisfying. It really was. At the end of the session, Agent Fuller, you were cleaning up the autopsy mess. Inferno and Price, you were driving up the mountain to continue spying on the radar station. And Weaver, you were wandering around town looking for Toby's friend, Danny. So let's start with Price and Inferno. You guys are driving up the mountain. It's afternoon. So what I'm curious is just what is your basic strategy here? Are you looking to go all the way up to the gate? Are you doing like you did the day before and ditching the car halfway up the mountain and then sneaking up? Like what's the idea? What are you guys doing as we're in the car with the two of you?
What do you think?
Can I first find out if the contents of the uniform, was there like any identifier of who this previously was to?
I think you did find some information about. I think you looked on the cell phone. There was a name, Frakes, that kept popping up in terms of contacts. So you think the name of you would assume the name of the worker was Frakes, like Frakes.
Okay. I'm thinking of trying to assume this identity and see how that goes.
Okay.
So
All right.
we can just drive in, see if
Okay.
they turn us down or not.
All right.
Okay. You should be the one driving then. Make it
Okay.
look a little more official.
Okay.
You're just bringing a friend to work.
So you guys drive up bumpy roads, way the hell away from the town itself, in the middle of nowhere, trees everywhere, etc. And you pull up to the fence, the gate, and you can see that somebody comes out. They are dressed in what looks like a Kevlar vest. They got a uniform on of some kind. You can see that they have a very large pistol on the side, on their hip, and they come up with their hands up, and they call, this here is private property, folks. You're going to have to turn around. This is not a place that you should be up. So, sorry, it happens a lot. Just go ahead and turn right around. There's some space right over there. You can do it. He kind of points, and there is like this muddy little area over there.
You just let me in. Show them I'm wearing uniform.
I'm sorry, friend. Who are you?
It's me, Franks. Don't recognize me?
Franks. No, there's no one here by the name Franks. I think you lost? I mean, are you lost? Hey, Phil? And you see somebody else come out, and he's like eating what looks like some kind of sandwich. He's like, Phil, we got a replacement worker by the name of Franks coming in here. And Phil, who finishes what he's... no, we ain't got no replacement workers at all. What are you talking about? And they look out at you like, yeah, I don't know.
I got a call to come up here. If you let me in, sort things out.
You got a call? Then that's when they notice that Price is in the car with you. Are both of you? Who's that with you?
Price.
Price? What did you say? What did Inferno say?
I said he's from town.
He's from town? Yeah.
You picked me up in town. No, I'm not a local. I wasn't given my uniform.
Okay, so and what year is your name?
Price.
Price and Franks, replacement workers sent by. Do you got a name, like a contact name or something? I can go talk with Dr. Horovitz and we can see if you're on. Unless you're on his list, I can't let you in. That's just not how this place works. So I'm also going to need you guys to get out some identification so we can verify who you actually are. Air Force pays top dollar for what we're doing in here, so we can't just let anyone in. I'm sure you understand.
Were there other names in the contact list?
There were names, but they were also Frakes names. So and you got the name wrong. You said Franks, and it was Frakes, like Frakes. Jonathan Frakes from Star Trek. And
all right, Frakes.
There were contacts for like a different area code, and you think that they could have been like the family or something maybe. But Phil says, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go talk to Horovitz. And then
we're replacing Frakes.
And they look at each other. They were okay. Go ahead and get your IDs out. We're gonna go ahead and square this up. So just hang tight, fellas. And you see Phil walks back, taking a bite out of his take a bite of a sandwich, and he heads over to this like concrete building in the back. And the other one comes up to the fence, and he's like, yeah, if y'all can just let me see them IDs, please. Just hold them up right here, right to the fence. That'd be great. Appreciate it.
I would have an actual ID with the price name on it.
Sure.
I don't know what Frank is gonna do.
I'm assuming
Do
the
I?
uniform didn't have an ID, so I'll say it's left in the other uniform.
Okay. Do you have a driver's license on you? As you are driving a vehicle, I would hope you have a driver's license on you, sir.
Yes, I was at a rush this morning. Didn't pack much.
I let out a sigh and roll my eyes like this just normal everyday Franks.
Guys, I don't know. I'm just going to be on the level with you here. We've got some stuff going on. This is not the day to play a prank, okay? You're showing up here to a secure facility. You've got no contact information for whoever it is that sent you. You've got no identification. Well, one of you doesn't have any identification. This one doesn't have a uniform. I don't even know where the hell you got that uniform from anyway. It's not like they're all over there on the rack in Walmart or something like that. We provide them here.
That's why I don't have mine.
Listen, you don't want them to come back out. And if they do, it's going to become a mess. I'll just say when they come out, oh, they're just having a little fun with us is all. Just the townsies having a little fun with us. You guys turn around now. That's it. You guys stay here. And it turns out that you're trying to pull something. Well, it's going to get a little harder for you guys.
We'll be back to sort things straight.
You're going to be back. I sure hope you're not going to be back. And at that point, you can see door to the concrete building opens, and you can see there's Phil and a man probably in his 50s with disheveled gray curly hair and a lab coat, a white lab coat under which he has a uniform not unlike what you're wearing, Agent Inferno, and they're walking back. So you guys have a decision to make. Do you stay and get into this conversation?
I'm going to take this warning and just reverse it out here for now.
Okay. And so
he was my contact. Yeah, I'll get papers, I guess. He was supposed to have them. He forgot everything. I'm sorry. If I get written up for this, I'm going to be pissed.
Price, are you staying behind?
No, I'm just making an excuse that he's an asshole, so I have to go back with him to get my papers.
Okay. And he's like, right. Uh-huh. Okay, Price. Well, I guess I'll see you pretty soon then. And
yeah, hopefully this gets cleared up.
As Inferno
I don't get much
like,
PTO.
As the Inferno does a little like 3-point turn, and you start to go back in, you can see like the other two, Phil and Dr. Horovitz, have now come to the gate, and they're like, he's like, what's going on up here? This is not the time for it. We have so many things going on. And then the door closes. Okay.
So I'm going to pull.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just pull away to that last bend we did last time we were up here.
Okay. So you're going to go hide it. Okay, that's fine. Back down.
Yeah.
Inferno? That was such a bad idea. Why did we do that? What was the plan going into this?
You never know. They might be lazily just let us in.
I feel like we know.
We do now.
Okay.
All right.
As you two stew in your car,
Ronnie better never hear about this.
We're gonna cut over. We're gonna cut over to Agent Weaver. You've been moving about town. You've been asking folks, trying to get an idea of where Danny is. What's your like persuasion at? What are you at? Decent.
53.
Okay. All right. 53 is very good. At a certain point, when you bring up the name, one of the fellas inside, maybe Mabel's, since you're familiar with it, you've talked to them before. Local farmer in his 50s, crops got destroyed and stuff. And he's like, Danny, huh? Danny, what the hell was his name? You know, I think old Minister Badbrook, I think she's got a Danny over there doing some chores for her over at the church. Maybe that's the fella you're looking for. There's a couple other Dannys, but one of them's older than me. And you don't go by Danny, you go by Dan. And call him Danny, he might punch you in the face. But, well, not you, but he'd punch me in the face.
Okay.
So maybe.
Worth checking out. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem, no problems. Church is down yonder. Just follow the road back out town. Hang a left when you see a kind of little dirt road go back all the way up to the river, to Boone. You'll see it right there on the bank. No problem.
Awesome.
Church
Thank
of
you.
the Chapel of the Celestial Matron. Some fancy thing. And so, Agent Weaver, you do what he says. It's a walk. It's probably a good 20 minutes, 30 minutes or so. But you work your way back out of town on foot. You find this road and you crunch on down it. And you eventually see a very modest looking church right on this ridge overlooking Boone River. You can see that it's well kept. There's a handful of, looks like there's some upturned trees here and there, but otherwise it's pretty well kept. It's likely that it's just the recent problems with weather that have caused some trouble. But it's fairly modest. Right now there are 2 cars that are in a dirt parking lot. And there's really nothing. There's like a small steeple, but it's not particularly tall. And it doesn't look like it has a particular denomination. And then there's one of those old-fashioned signs that has like just a basic prayer or reference, but it's all hand. It's not like lit. It's not digital, and you can tell that it suffered some damage from the weather. And it doesn't even have a coherent. It's like letters are missing, and there's some cracks and stuff on it. But if you pop on inside, you will notice it's empty. You hear the sounds of voices from somewhere inside the church. It is, again, modest of size. It probably holds no more than maybe 40, 50 people on a packed day, and more than likely half of that on a regular day. But at a certain point when the door closes, after you're looking around here and there, there's a handful of kind of nice imagery and such, but it's nothing particularly fancy. You're not in like Rome or anything here. You see a woman. You'd probably put her in her 40s or probably in her 50s, maybe 60s. She's got this sort of stringy, blondish graying hair. She has relatively friendly face, and you can see she's dressed very nicely. But she's got her sleeves rolled up, and she's got what looks like a dress and kind of an apron over top, and she's kind of wiping away at her forehead. And she's like, "Oh, hello. What can I do for you? We don't have services. We don't have services today, I'm afraid. Just too much to do and such. So if you're looking, we will have normal services tomorrow night and then over the weekend as well. And but is there something other I can do for you?"
I was just looking to speak with you regarding these storms that have been happening. I'd like to interview you if you have a few moments.
She's like, interview me? What is it you're interviewing me for? Are you a journalist or something?
Yeah, I'm just collecting information and Lisa will rattle off the local newspaper for Charlotte, I believe, is the other town nearby.
It's the closest big city. Yeah, it's a ways away, but it's the closest big. It's like a 45-minute hour drive. Okay. Well, I don't know exactly what it is I could contribute to this, but if I'd be happy to answer some questions for a fellow professional woman, I look. Is this going to be on camera? Do you have a camera crew or something?
So no camera crew. I'm just doing the preliminary interviews to collect information. And then from there, if they decide to put it on video, they'll send out the camera crew.
I see. So it's like I got to make the cut. Is that what's happening?
A little bit. And it's, we're just looking for some interesting stories and, experiences.
Okay. Well, I look a mess. As long as that's okay. We've been repairing had some damage to the rear of the church, but that's fine. And she'll just call it, Danny, I'm going to be a few minutes, hon. You just go ahead and keep working. And you just hear yes, ma'am. Kind of from deep in the back. So, what can I do for you? What kind of questions would you like to ask?
Well, so let's just start. Could I get your name, your first and last name?
Oh, of course. Where are my manners? I'm just in a little bit of tizzy, I'll be honest with you. It's just it's not every day that someone comes in wanting to interview me. It's it's just a little bit unusual. But no, my name is Catherine Badbrook, or Kath is what folks around here call me, or Minister Kath, Minister Badbrook, or just Kath's fine. Just Kath is fine. I like to keep things casual, if that's all right.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And Lisa does have one of those flip notebooks that she's quickly jotting down her notes and stuff.
Okay.
So if you could just, in your own words, explain when this storm started to hit your town and your experiences with it.
Well, it's been, I would imagine, about a week now. To be fair, though, we didn't really notice, abnormalities immediately. We thought it was just difficult storms, and then we started to see some patterns form or so. So I would say it's about a week, something around that. Could be off by a day or more. You might want to talk to the constable. He might have more definitive records, but that sounds about right. It's been a few days since, we had a couple tragedies. I'm not sure if you've heard about that. Very sad to report that, Miss Diane Craw, she's just a delightful woman, parishioner. She comes here all the time. She was, her and her husband. Sadly, she was, she was underneath some wreckage, and she was taken from us, and she moved on to the next phase of her existence, and then there was that was Crispin as well. Don't know him as well, but it's a small town, so everyone kind of knows everyone just a little bit, but he and I didn't necessarily run in similar circles, so to speak. Interesting young man, but sadly he had very interesting. He had a museum, and he and I had a little bit of a tiff a few years ago because he wanted to erect it here, but I had already taken up residence within the church, and so he's a little upset with me. But I tend to think the man's more of an atheist. I don't even think he's a godly man, you ask me, which is not to say that I approve of him being smoked in such a manner. That's not what I mean at all. I'm sorry, I'm a little frazzled. You're not going to quote me for that.
You're okay.
Oh, well. And so he died as well, and all that happened in the last few days. So it's been very tragic, very tragic.
Have you heard the screaming?
Yes, it's quite alarming. It's quite alarming. This is the
Does
most peculiar sounding thunder I've ever heard. Often? Well, it only happens in this past week or so when these storms have started. I don't think any of us has ever heard that kind of screeching before. No, not at all, man.
Gotcha. Okay. And then anything else that you have noticed lately that's out of the ordinary? Isn't
that enough?
That is terrible. Yeah, I do agree. All those tragedies that have happened and the damage to your church. Do you guys have an ETA of when repairs are going to be able to get made?
Well, as long as there's no more severe issues. Fortunately, we're on a fairly high ridge, and flooding's not an issue, and that's not really a concern. But
that's good.
Mm-hmm. But we did.
This is a very beautiful spot.
Oh, it's very kind of you. Thank you very much. It has a very terrible history, but we like to think that we're taking that history and we're making something new and fruitful from it.
What kind of history does this place have?
Oh, well, you don't really want to know about that. That's got nothing to do with the weather. Yeah, it's just old superstition is all.
This doesn't have anything to do with the article. It just colored me curious.
Well, if you insist, ask some of the older folk around here. Folks been around here generations. People tend to stick in a small town like this. They don't really travel too far out and return. Some folks do, but generations ago, as the story says, there was a woman by the name of, what was her name? Cassidy Crawford. That was her name. And, one thing or another happened, some sort of strange circumstances. She lived by herself and she didn't have a husband and no children. She had some peculiar habits, I suppose, in the garden and all sorts of things. And folks got it in their heads that she was some kind of witch. And, well, they killed her. Right down there, and they drowned her down there in the water there in the Boone River. That's the story, anyway.
Oh. There's always some sort of superstition in every town you go to.
Isn't that right? Superstition is just, well, it's very difficult for some folks to understand the types of tales and truths that the good book provides, and the type of, well, heresy and lunacy that these types of stories try to replace it with. So it's very good to hear a young woman such as yourself having such a firm grasp on fact and fiction.
Driven by logic.
Well, hopefully there's a little bit of faith in there as well.
Oh, of course.
Of course.
My mama raised me right, yep.
Yes, she did. I'm sure she did.
And as she says that, she kind of winces, but like pushes through it.
Okay. Well, is there anything else I can do for you? Is there any other questions you might have?
I think this is really interesting for now. But is there anyone else here that I could perhaps speak to? I think you mentioned a Danny.
Oh, well, I'm not quite comfortable with that. He is what we call an at-risk youth, and I'm not sure if it would be appropriate for him to engage in an interview on such subject matter. I'm sure you understand.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's no problem. Are there any other programs and such that he has available to him? Perhaps I can recommend some in Charlotte.
Well, that would be lovely if you could. I would be more than happy to look into that on his behalf. Yeah.
Yeah, I can gather those for you.
Oh, that's very, very kindly of you. Thank you very much.
All right. Yeah, and because I was speaking with, and she starts flipping through her notes. Toby Fletcher.
Oh, what a kind little boy. Well, he's not so much little boy anymore now, is he? He's almost a grown man, in fact.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a sweetheart, that young man. Yes, indeed. Well, him and Danny are friends. I do know that. And I think Toby's an excellent influence on Danny.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, and I just Toby did mention a few things that he had witnessed with Danny, and I would really appreciate it if I could corroborate that with Danny for any possible future stories.
I think what kind of things are you talking about, ma'am?
Just some sort of with the last storm that had happened. They had witnessed, I don't know if it was, and she starts going through it. Oh, they heard just different sort of screams that, no one else has mentioned, really.
Well, as long as you promise to keep the questions short and on point and don't upset
and professional, yes.
Of course. Danny, dear, could you come on out here? There's a young woman who would like to ask you a few questions. You have to be careful saying it like that. He's had a little run-ins here and there with... Don't worry, it's not the law, I promise, sweetheart. Come on out here. And you can see coming on out eventually. You see a skinny kid. You would probably peg him at like 18, 17, around there. Definitely looks a little malnourished. And he's like, yes, minister, you call for me? Is there something I can I didn't do nothing. I've been well behaved. I know
yeah.
that, Danny. It's fine. I understand. Just this is. Oh my goodness! I don't think I forgot
Where
your
are
name.
my manners? My name is Blair Weaver.
Blair Weaver. Oh, well, that's a beautiful name. Well, this is Miss Weaver. She works at the insert Charlotte newspaper name here,
Mhm.
and she would like to ask you a question or two, if that's all right. Something maybe you and Toby might have saw. And you can see immediately, like with your men, he kind of gets all nervous from that.
Yeah, and Lisa does start like very politely with like questions regarding the storm.
Mm-hmm. And he fills in. He says the same stories that you've been hearing. Like they're quick, they're fast. They just pop in, they pop out. There's this like they're extremely violent, and they have that scream. It's like the same story you hear everywhere else.
Does she like linger nearby?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let me think, because I didn't know if I'd actually be able to get to talk to him or not.
Think about it. We can come back. We'll check with
Cool.
Agent Fuller, and you can think about it. Let's kick over to Agent Fuller. Your hands have just come out off the body of Diane Croft. You finished like stitching back up and shoving her organs back into the Y section. Not in that order, probably in the other one. And you are done. What does Agent Fuller do next?
Just constant head shaking. It just just kind of quietly muttering and cursing to herself that nothing was found, and that this was unsuccessful. And so she is going to like do up all the paperwork in the right way. So she's going to like kind of get all the paperwork out of the way that you kind of would do when you're like doing an autopsy.
That's fine.
And then she is going to find her way out of this area.
Okay. All of that is easy enough to do. What does Fuller do?
And then she would... I'm going to say woman of her word. I'm going to go check in with a constable. See what's up with him.
You have to kind of have to walk or hitch your way back. But eventually you return, you get back to the constable station.
Because I actually have all of our cars because I had driven out to do the, because I had driven.
Inferno and Price came and got it. And then that's what they drove up the mountain. That's why they had the opportunity to back you up and they didn't. And then they left.
That's
and
right.
Took your car at the same time. Okay. So
we'll say you
Okay, so we'll say you catch up a little while later with the constable, and he's like, "Well, hello there. How was you're able to help out Dr. Barnes some? Everything all right?"
Yeah, in a way, I did go over there to, as I mentioned that I would, kind of take a look at the bodies.
Yeah, I see. I'm glad to hear that. I'm sure he was quite grateful for whatever assistance you were able to offer.
Not surprisingly, not exactly. Actually,
I see. That's
yeah.
That's a little odd. He seems to be a little in over his head. I would imagine he would probably.
He seems quite stressed and quite overwhelmed with everyone else that was there.
It's been very difficult. It's been very difficult since that dear Mrs. Croft died. Just a saintly woman, to be honest. It's sort of shook up everyone, and the two of them worked together a bit, if that. So it probably was a little bit even more personal for him because they did spend some time together at the clinic when she pitched in part time. So, well,
I see that must have been very, very sad for him.
And yeah, he's been very protective of the.
So you been working there for a long time?
Dr. Barnes, he's been with us for a couple of years now, about 2, I want to say, and since his grandfather passed, his grandfather was a previous doctor, and he moved in on after, and Ms. Croft, as I've told some of your colleagues from the university, that she used to be a nurse in the great city of Charlotte. But she's retired out here with her husband.
I see. Yeah. So And so she will actually kind of she said that she was going to share with the constable that she is an FBI agent, so she's going to go ahead and so I think part of why he was a little upset, it was really actually being upset a little bit on your behalf, because you see when
that's kind of
when
strange, don't you think?
Yeah, so when we agents are kind of sent out to kind of smaller areas, we find that sometimes it's best to not kind of come in and flash a badge and kind of look like we're kind of trying to take over everything and act as if kind of the folks that are here locally can't handle things. So sometimes we kind of come in a little more on the quiet side, and he was a little on your behalf less than thrilled that we didn't necessarily come in being fully forthright about our jurisdiction here. And she'll kind of open her FBI badge.
What? Well, that's you are a FBI agent.
Yes. Also, medically trained. All of that was entirely accurate information.
Ma'am, why would you not be forthright about your identification?
Well, you see, I've definitely found over the years that there are many times when kind of individuals will, kind of just restrict information, feeling like they, owe their loyalties to the local law enforcement, and anyone that comes in as an outsider is just not to be trusted. And so I'm certainly not one to.
I don't mean to interrupt, but this isn't television. This isn't Hollywood. That sort of stereotype is something that is it's for the fictions that folks see on their TV screens. That's not how things.
I can guarantee you that is not fiction.
I can guarantee you that not identifying who you are and interfering in an investigation, regardless of the small provincial jurisdiction I might have, is very unprofessional of you.
That may certainly be your opinion, but I can tell you, being on the other side of this badge, that I know of which I speak.
Do you commonly make all sorts of terrible professional mistakes and blunders and then play the role of the victim thereafter?
Well, that's certainly one way to look at the situation. It might be construed in the other direction, that might be what you're doing.
That's what I'm doing. At what point did I ever misidentify my role? I don't think. Ma'am, I'm going to set this aside for later.
we have things to address here.
Very much interested in your field office's supervisor that I can contact to verify your.
Absolutely. But we have things we need to get done first, though, right?
Do you believe some crime has been committed out here that is of the FBI's interest? It's a thunderstorm, as far as I understand it, ma'am.
That's what everyone keeps saying, that it is a thunderstorm. But generally, when there's a thunderstorm and you look at the local radar, that thunderstorm shows up on the radar, and that is not what is happening here. So there's absolutely cause for concern as to what exactly is going on here.
And were you under the impression that there is some sort of conspiracy involving the local constable's office and perhaps the medical clinic, and that is why you chose not to identify yourself when coming to investigate?
Well, I certainly wouldn't have any knowledge of that for sure until I've actually been here and spoken to some people. And
ma'am, I'm going to ask you to cut to the chase. Why are you here? And why did you... What can I do for you?
Well, you see, it seems that we're going to have to do a little bit of further reconnaissance around up the mountain a bit.
Ma'am, I don't think that is appropriate to do. I don't see exactly why that is a task that should be assigned to a singular FBI agent who comes out here with medical training. What exactly do you think they're doing up on that mountain, ma'am?
Well, that is definitely something to be discovered, and it is clear that no one has a good idea of what exactly that is.
And he's just like his patience, because like, just understand what you just told him. Hey, I think it's these people up on the mountain. That's why I didn't tell you who I was, and that's why I went to a medical clinic to sort of stick my hands into dead people. And like, now you're saying it's the people up on the mountain. So he's just, ma'am, you have an FBI badge. You don't need my permission to go speak with the boys up on the mountain. If that is what you would like to do, go right ahead. I'm sure they will talk to a person of your caliber. Is there any other secrets that you would like to unload off your chest?
No. If you do, that would be useful. But it seemed like you'd been straightforward.
Are you accusing me of something? You saying I'm hiding secrets?
No.
You think I'm just a bumbling old constable just has some sort of strange conspiracy that he's covering up? Is that what it is? Boy,
that was
FBI training, I guess, just isn't what it used to be.
Thought.
Anyhow, well, you know where the mountain is, and I'm sure you can find the path up there if that's fine.
When he was saying that, like, he wouldn't possibly know anything or couldn't possibly be covering anything up, is there a role that I can do on that?
What's your human?
10.
You can roll a human plus 20.
Okay. I'm gonna take a little audience that. But yeah,
you guys do that. Like, I give you the bonus. You should take the bonus on top of it. Okay.
But no, it's a 58.
Okay.
Like, I wasn't gonna get there.
He is angry, which is very clear. He is not happy that you have lied, and that you have sort of misrepresented your intentions here, and he genuinely thinks it's actually very unprofessional. Like, you're pretty clear about that. Beyond that, it's hard to read. We're gonna cut from here to the mountain, where we see Agent Inferno and Agent Price making out in the back of their Toyota Avalon up on a mountain path somewhere. What's going on? What are you guys?
Finally, we're getting to it. The good stuff.
Yeah, I'm clicking through these phone contacts. I want to give them a ring, see if anyone picks up.
Sure. So you call one up. Give me a luck test. Just a regular old luck test.
16.
Okay. A woman's voice answers. Lucas? Lucas, honey, is that you?
Yes.
Where have you been? I've been trying to call you for the past 4 days.
I'm in Silo.
You're supposed to call me every night.
Phone's been dead. Had to get a new one.
Honey, you sound strange.
I'd be sick. There's a bunch of storms here.
I know there's a... Honey, why have you gone silent? Like, we talked about this. If you're going to be working at the base, away from home, away from Sandy, then you need to call every night. You need to say goodnight to your daughter every night.
Is she there?
Well, yes, she's here. Honey, come over here. Say, your father's on the phone. Come say, honey, right over here this instant. Daddy wants to say he's sorry. You're going to say you're sorry to her. And so she puts the phone down, and you just hear breathing. Just say, like, you don't hear it. Like, the kid doesn't say anything.
Hey there. Daddy, sorry.
Do me a favor and roll a test here. Roll a... Oh my god, I have no idea what this would be. Disguise, maybe? You're trying to disguise your
that
voice
sounds
or
good.
something.
What's your disguise?
I'll give you a plus 20
It's
because you said it's
Okay.
a bad phone connection and stuff like that. So it's like that's obscuring it.
No.
74 over 30.
You hear, "You're not Daddy. This isn't Daddy. Honey, what are you talking about? Of course it's Dad. No, it's not. It doesn't sound like him at all." And then she's like, "What'd you do with my daddy?" And then eventually, like, the phone comes back and she's like, "She's very upset with you." And it's the woman again. She's very upset with you.
I'll get through to her.
You really do sound strange.
Let's not dwell on it.
Let's not dwell on the fact that my husband's been not calling me back for days when he's supposed to, and then when he does call, he sounds like a different man. He scares his daughter away. Yeah, let's not dwell on the important things, huh, Lucas? Well, I guess you better go back to your fancy work for the United States Air Force, because I guess you're just your wife and your daughter just don't mean anything to you. Click. She hangs up on you.
What contact was that?
How'd that go?
I have a wife and daughter, apparently.
Oh, that's nice. I'm sure they were glad to hear from you.
No. Apparently it's one of her husband. Named Lucas.
Lucas Frakes, got it.
Okay. That was one. There are only like a couple numbers in here, and that was one of them. I think that one had the last name Frakes. We'll say another one has like a different last name to it.
Riker?
We'll say Stewart.
I'll give that a ring as well.
Okay. You hear, actually roll a luck test. We'll see if they answer.
Ooh, 65 this time.
Goes to voicemail, but it does. So the voicemail does seem to be like, it's kind of going through a whole thing, but then it just eventually it says it's like leave a message for, and you hear an old man's voice, Bud Frakes, or no, that's not right, Bud Stewart. There we go, and then that's it.
Howdy.
And then do you leave a message?
Yeah, just like call me back.
Okay. Okay. With your absolutely nothing like Lucas Frick's voice. All right. What happens after that? What do you guys do next?
All right, Bryce, didn't get much out of that.
I say we cut the power to the base. Ram the car into one of those power lines. We sneak in.
Is there one nearby?
Are there power lines nearby?
No, you would imagine that the base probably runs on its own private generator.
It's not hooked up to city power and a generator?
You're up in the middle of nowhere on a mountain. No, it does
Well,
not.
that's just
seem to
not
be hooked up to
eco-friendly.
City power. It's doesn't really care about that, I don't think.
All right, we start a fire on one side. We sneak in the
You
other
want to start a
side.
fire? Okay. You guys spend some time starting a fire on the mountain. Absolutely.
I'm asking what Luca thinks about this. If he wants to
you
start
said
an
you did it, I
Inferno.
thought. Oh, okay.
You want to live up to your name?
It's just so fascinating that you guys, like, the strategies you always take. You always take like the over here. Let's come at it this way. Like, you guys just never just show up, knock on the front door, show a badge, be like, "Hey, FBI, we want to ask you some questions." Like, it's just never that. It's always like, let's set the mountain on fire, ram the truck into the wiring fence, and let's call this dude's widow and see if we can scare his child. Let's do that instead. That's just what makes this fun.
It feels more
It's fun.
straightforward that way.
All right, so what do you guys do?
You want to go up there, say we're
They have already seen our faces. We'd have to wait for a guard change.
right, let's wait for a
He
garbage.
would-
And then we'll start a fire and say we're FBI.
Okay. What? All right. What are you doing?
So we've surveyed this place already, and we know. Let's just break in.
You know that it's chain link fence with like wires at the top. You know, so it's like you throw a freaking jacket over top of it, you're fine. Like it's a big fence. You saw maybe 3 to 5 or so different security folks between the time that you were here and the time that you were here yesterday. You saw about that. All of them have guns though, and you have seen 1 or 2, a couple folks, like they look like scientists or technicians, that kind of thing. Like the uniform you're wearing is not what the guards are wearing. You've heard at this point, I'll say you've heard multiple times Air Force. You don't see anybody with an Air Force insignia. Like there's nothing up here. Like that seems to be like a thing that's popped up here and there. But remember that there was that image that you guys saw on one of the buildings that suggested this was like a private company, which is something you kind of already knew anyway from the debrief information. But for some reason, like people in the town think that they're doing something for the Air Force, but it's a private company. So it could just be a military contractor, because that's what you know that like Daedalus is. Like there's some sort of subsidiary that is a defense contractor of some kind. So, but the specifics of which you don't know.
I wouldn't want to break in until it's night anyways. The fire will be more distracting that way. Let's regroup. Let's go find Agent Fuller, Agent Weaver, see what they learned.
Okay. So you start heading back down. We'll cut back over to Weaver. Weaver, you're in the church still. Get Danny in front of you. You've got the minister in front of you. What are you doing?
So at this point, Lisa's gonna start asking Danny. So I know that you and Toby tend to do a lot of like hiking and stuff around. Are there any notable locations that you would be able to take me out to take some pictures of the town?
And he like looks like really tentatively over at the minister, and she's like, ma'am, I think there's plenty of other adults in the town that could probably give you a hand with that. You can just head on down the road to Mabel's there, and you can probably ask a few folks, and I'm sure they can help you with that. Maybe don't ask a 17-year-old boy to go up a mountain with a strange woman he doesn't know.
Understandable. I always just presume locals know what's best.
Well, the adults are locals as well.
True. Yes, correct. Do you have any directions you could point me to that I could head up with someone else? He said you had some really wonderful spots.
I don't know what you're talking about, ma'am. I don't really have wonderful spots or nothing like that. I mean, there's the mountain. You can go up it, but you can't go too high, or else you get to the base.
Gotcha. Maybe I just misunderstood. Well, and what she does for both of them is she rips off a piece of paper with her burner phone number. You can text me at this number if either of you think of anything additional that you'd like to add. We are planning on doing sort of like a hotspot location to hopefully bring more tourism to your town. An article. And then
okay, ma'am, that sounds nice.
And she's mostly directing this at the minister at this point.
So, tourism. Well, I didn't even know we had a tourism industry, but fantastic. Okay, well, it's wonderful.
It's a beautiful town, so.
Well, I mean,
obviously with the storms, but I can see the character in the bones, and it's beautiful.
Well, that's very kind of you to say, indeed. It's very kind, not very kind, Danny. Oh, it's very kind, thank you.
All right. Well, I better get walking back. Thank you guys so much for your time.
You have a good rest of your night.
And then, So they do have like I don't partake in it, but they do have like a superstition article that they kind of do. Where location in the river did that thing happen with Cassidy Crawford?
I told you, it's right down there on the base. We're built right above it.
Oh, okay. So, and she just points. So if I head that way, that's where I'll find it. Or
Ma'am, it's literally right outside and down. I think you're trying to be are you trying to be intentionally obtuse? You step outside and you look down at the river. She drowned in the river. I don't understand.
oh, I just wasn't sure if it was immediately up here, more down the river.
Ma'am, what exactly is your article about? I thought you were taking questions about the weather, and now you're asking about tourist spots, and now you're asking about where a woman from 100 years ago was drowned. And
I just collect different information for the different types of articles that they write. I go to towns. I ask a bunch of questions about everything.
Danny, why don't you go ahead and go back and get back to work? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So he goes, ma'am, I think it's time for you to go. You don't strike me as being entirely honest here. So why don't you go ahead and just leave? I think that'd be best.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that you feel that way, but I hopefully they'll come back and do the interview for you.
I think you and I both know there's no interview here. You can go ahead and just go right outside. Have yourself
I will
a
just
blessed
mark
day.
you as not interested. Thank you, and she leaves.
Okay. So, at a certain point, Agent Inferno, Agent Price come down. Yeah, go ahead.
Do a slight retcon if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead. What do you got?
I would like to get out of the car as Dante goes to regroup with the intention of, everyone regrouping soon, but him like going to get them. And I want to watch the station from a distance, somewhat stealthily. I'm not trying to be obvious about it, to see if another storm pops up, if anything happens here at the station.
Okay. You've noticed that no storm has happened today at all, which is abnormal because they were getting them a couple times per day. You got one yesterday, early afternoon, and you haven't had one since. So this is sort of, so from what your intelligence had been, it was like happening fairly regularly, right? And so as you're staying up here, let's say you drove up here, it's been an hour that you drove up, and then you had your little meeting. Inferno was on the phone, and now you're just sort of stealthily looking at it. And at no point does the storm kick back up again. What is your alertness? What's that at? It's pretty high,
90.
right?
And I have something else I would also like to do if it's just going to be downtime. But I'm not trying to cut in yet. You
do notice that there are a couple different on the actual base. Like if you sneak on up a little bit, you do notice that there are the complex itself. There's one large radio tower that looks upgraded. There's a couple storage sheds, it looks like, and a few other things here and there. From what you can tell, just by watching, there's like a concrete building from which you saw a person come out of. And whenever you're watching, peeking through the trees, peeking through the fence, that seems to be the area of most attention. Like they're going in and out. You can see people coming out smoking cigarettes, and you can see more than once you see that guy come out that you saw, Dr. Horovitz, his name. But you don't see anything strange happening other than there are arguments. You can see that Horovitz and some of the other folks that are in like white coats and other like coveralls and things like that are getting in some kind of fights, and like they're arguing here and there. They're arguing about something. You're too far away to hear it, but you can certainly see that there's arguments going on.
Okay. I want to try and remember as many faces as I can. Take notes of like if I see anyone more often than others, like who the smokers are, that kind of thing. And then I want to get on the phone, and I would like to call someone, and this may not be fruitful at all. This is up to you. I want to call my ex-partner in the CIA. She's still in the CIA. And I want to try and damage my bond a little bit to try and milk some information.
Okay.
If possible.
What is your bond's name?
Edie.
Edie. Okay. Dee or Edie?
Edie. Eady.
Okay. All right. So I'm assuming you have a number that you can reach her on. And so you give her a call, we'll say, and you get her. She'll answer the phone. And she'll say something along the lines of like, well, look who it is. What do I owe the pleasure?
Sorry, I know I still owe you a beer next time we're at the VFW. I'm working my new job, and I was hoping I could call in a favor.
With me?
Yeah.
You already owe me a beer, and now you want another favor on top of that.
I'm going to owe you 2 beers.
Well, that depends on the favor. It could be a lot more than that.
It's nothing big. I just was curious if you got any files nearby, handy access to a company called Daedalus. They've got some contracts with the Air Force. They hire, private military Breckenridge.
Nothing big. You just want me to reveal information about a...
Basic information. I'm not asking for anything like overly classified, just top secret.
Overly classified, just top... Okay. Wow, what kind... Okay, and you need this win?
What are you doing right now?
I'm talking to you. On a phone. That is
my
not
battery's
secure.
running out. So
roll a persuasion test.
All right. I'm going to take some
risk of
dice on
failure.
this one.
There is definitely a risk of failure.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna ask
that's
for
fair.
A roll.
Steven's role playing himself. Wait, I gotta plug my phone in.
All right. I'm glad I took the audience die. My
That's so
persuade. Okay, Melissa, come on. I'm trying. My phone sucks in real life. That's the joke. I only passed because of the audience die. I needed a 64, rolled a 63.
I will get back to you. Give me an hour, she says. And she doesn't even wait for you to say anything. She just closed, like you say that into a dead phone as the phone's already hanging up. Inferno, were you doing anything in an hour? Or we can flash forward. I just wanted to get a sense if you're doing anything in particular.
I don't have anything.
Okay. Phone will eventually, as the two of you are still, it's getting dark now. And eventually the phone will ring and you'll get on the phone and she will give you some basic information. So you got a couple different companies that you're referencing. You got Daedalus and you've got Breckenridge. Breckenridge is basically a sort of a private military organization. That's what they are. Like they're a like paramilitary, and they don't screw around. So that's Breckenridge. And she'll maybe reference a handful of places that they've been, things that they've done to sort of demonstrate that there's a certain level of professionalism and somewhat ruthlessness to them, but not in a way that's like they're going around like killing civilians in the middle of Virginia or something like that. But there is that. Then when you get into Daedalus, she tells you Daedalus Engineering is a subsidiary, and this is something you already knew from the files, of March Technologies. And that apparently March Technologies, she is a little bit cagey on, but you know that something went down in the 90s that kind of caused a sort of a groundswell or a changing of the intelligence industry kind of got shifted around a bit here and there, and they were involved And there's all sorts of rumors about the different tech that they were kind of involved with. And some of it is the conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat kind, is sort of what she's referring to. Daedalus is an engineering firm subsidiary, and they, as far as she is able to track, are in good standing. They deal like they do have a handful of active contracts with the Air Force apparently, and it has something to do with what seems like some kind of radar. And if you ask about, if you specifically ask about North Carolina, she is able to, if you tell her that, she is able to give you some information. She does say, I'm sorry, I'm trying to find it. I have my notes. Where the hell did I put it? I put it somewhere. One sec. Talk about yourself.
She's like, hold on, here, talk to my kid. I gotta go look at my notes. And then you get another one like, hello.
You're not daddy.
So the story is that they are, in fact, this Daedalus Engineering, they are, in fact, working on some kind of technology for the Air Force in North Carolina that's supposed to enable real-time monitoring of the Earth's electromagnetic field in high detail. That's apparently what she has.
Thanks, Edie. You're the best.
Yep. And that's more than a beer.
I owe you one.
You don't know how to count. You owe me several.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
2 beers.
Mm-hmm. So you get that info. By this time, it's sort of evening time. Sun's gone down. You have that. What do you guys do? So you're up in the mountains.
And no storm that whole time, the whole day.
No storm this whole day.
Sounds like they've real lockdown this place. Should pick up a few there, Weaver.
Meet back at the diner.
Okay. So we will say then an hour or so later, the 4 of you meet back, diner or the Starlight Lodge, whatever it is you want to be. The 4 of you are back together. We'll say it's nighttime now. What do you guys do?
So, checked out the bodies. Jack squat. They died because heavy stuff fell on them. Thought maybe some other, hiding something with the storm, but it was what it was.
No storms all day. I watched the station for a good bit. They were arguing. Tensions are running high there. That might be related. There might be problems. There might be some friction happening there. I called in a favor with an old coworker of mine. Just asked for some information on Daedalus. Apparently, they are working on some sort of system that will enable real-time monitoring of the Earth's magnoelectric sphere. I can't read my own handwriting.
I know that. I know that feeling. Real-time monitoring.
Yeah, that's
Weaver?
interesting. And she points at Price. So when we spoke to the one kid that she terrified. So I went hunted down his friend who said saw our truck as we were heading up there at night. Well, he was at the church with the minister, and she's a bit of a hawk, so I couldn't really talk with him. But he doesn't seem to be involved in anything like occult like that I could get just from our brief interaction. But
I think we're dealing with something science.
Yeah, I
occult.
definitely agree. I think those threw me off a little bit.
Don't worry, Lisa. You're still new. You'll get the hang of it.
Where we found the where he said he found the trash bag with the remains, that's like the same area where that lady was sacrificed, drowned as a witch, allegedly like 100+ years ago. Of like the local superstition that's going around.
It does seem that when you have a I'm assuming, Price, from your information, this is a corporation that is well funded and has lots of resources at their disposal. If they're contracting, and this is where they're doing their work. I'm assuming that's not a coincidence.
Well, so this is gonna make you guys think I'm a little woo-woo, but where there tends to be a lot of like high spiritual activity that tends to have an impact upon the electromagnetic fields. At least that's how they measure it. EKGs is something that they go out and measure and stuff. So I don't know if like there's something supernatural that they stumbled upon and that's why they had their base here. Or what, but if you've heard anything about banshees, women screams, that's a spirit. She's usually out for revenge of some sort. I'm just floundering here. Did you guys find anything else?
I think that, sometimes when there are mystical, stories of mystical things, it's just because there's something scientific that hasn't been figured out yet.
Yeah, I didn't really believe in this stuff until our first, and she kind of like looks at Inferno and Price, until our first encounter.
Absolutely. It's been several years for me since that introduction, but got to look at these things with eyes wide open, as it were.
All right, so if there's something about EKGs and this station can monitor those, we know that 2 of the sites where these injuries happened could possibly have higher readings of those EKGs, then likely that would explain why they're upset and they haven't turned it on, because their machine is malfunctioning because of the area and it's targeting these spaces specifically instead of.
Did we? I'm sorry to interrupt, but did we not hear that there was a gentleman who would have been home but wasn't home but was having heart issues? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, the lady who died, her husband, he was having surgery in Charlotte.
And he might have had like a pacemaker or something?
I think so.
What's a pacemaker have to do with
that? Does that affect that?
Electrical waves? Perhaps. I don't know.
They
but then there's
really
also
should
the guy
have sent
that
a scientist with us.
Or a doctor.
Doctor and God's nowhere. I autopsy both of those bodies and there's nothing to see.
So now the question is, we really need to get up there and see what's happening in that base. And man, I really got in character speaking with like a drawl earlier, and it's just sticking.
We just ascended slowly.
I was trying to blend in, and it just took over my life.
Agent Fuller, is it true that you blew your cover? You said you're an FBI agent.
I provided a cover.
A different cover than we planned on. Okay. How about we just roll with that? Inferno and I blew our cover quite a bit at the station.
I thought you were just going up there for reconnaissance. Did you like walk up and knock on the front door?
They've seen our faces. We tried getting in.
You tried getting in without us?
Did you just throw a uniform on and say, I'm just going to walk in the door, and they're just going to say, like, hey, you got the uniform. Come on in.
Don't answer that.
I'm assuming that didn't go so well before you did it.
So here's what I'm thinking. Agent Fuller, you're already going around telling everyone you're FBI. You take Weaver and you take the uniform and ask questions. Say that there is a missing persons report filed. FBI handles missing person all the time. Bring the uniform as evidence. See what you guys can dig up.
Did you guys find anything with the phone?
Yeah, it was his wife.
Did we get a name for his wife?
Sandy? Or was that the daughter?
Something with an S.
His first name is Lucas.
His name is Lucas.
His name's Lucas, yes.
Daughter's
and
name
he's
is
got a
Sandy.
wife. The daughter's name is Sandy. Does she seem
Almost
to
as
know
if someone is
anything
just
about
reading off the overlay.
it? Is did she seem to know anything about his work that he's doing here?
Under the impression of Air Force. You can give her a call. I didn't take it that way. I played along.
I wouldn't worry too
You-
much about that. Let's go with the angle of asking questions at the base. We use her as the reason, the instigation. You don't have to reveal your sources. You know, just say you've got legitimate cause, you've got the uniform, flash an FBI badge. That they should at least answer some questions, even if they won't let you on the base.
So, what do we know as hierarchy of like military versus FBI? Like who wins out on that? This is like an Ashley question to the universe.
Depends on there's a variety of like variables that are going to impact that.
I like the idea.
It's not
of
an
sort
Air
of a
Force
jurisdictional
base.
thing.
So the thing is, it's
Okay.
not an Air Force base. It is a private company's radar station, and they are working as a defense contractor for
Got
this.
it.
So it's a
Okay.
totally different thing. They're not Air Force. They
Okay.
are a private contractor. You didn't see anybody in uniform to suggest that they were members of the Air Force. They keep coming up with that. People keep saying that, etc. That's the basic story around town. So, but you didn't see
Got it. Okay.
you didn't see any outwardly facing military folk.
Okay. I swear
think
to
we've got
Christ,
it
if
solved
I go
now.
to jail again for impersonating an FBI agent, Price,
You'll be fine. You'll get some street cred. I think we've got it solved. We just figure out, talk to Horowitz specifically. Ask for him. There was some infighting. See if you can get him to slip.
Absolutely. And she'll just kind of put a hand on Agent Weaver's arm and just say, it's a rite of passage. Spend some time, made up a story, impersonated someone. You're on your way.
and Weaver just like kind of pinches the bridge of her nose. I have a kid. I can't go back to jail again. Come on, let's go. Like,
All right. So, are the two of you going back now? Or are you
I
waiting
feel like if
until
we're
morning?
going to interview, it's weird to do at night.
It's up to you. Okay. All right. So you guys return to the Starlight Lounge. You rest up for the night. You see what they have on the television. No storms again during the night. Nothing at all. Everything's fine. Morning comes. There's people outside and they're talking around here and there, walking around on the street, heading over to Mabel, such and such. And everyone's like, I think it's finally over. It's about time. Thank you. Oh, goodness. And so like everyone feels like it's been a day and a half. They've been getting these things multiple times a day. So the fact that like they've gone like a day and a half, almost 2 full days without a storm is relatively significant for them. So Agent Fuller, Weaver, you get in your car. You head on up. Do you never mind. I'm not going to even ask that question. I don't want to ask that question because I feel like it's just going to derail you guys. So, like, you get in the car and you drive up. Inferno.
I
and
would like to
Price-
go with, but I'd like to get out of the car before they get to the gate.
Okay. What about you, Inferno?
Yeah, I think I'll do the same.
Okay. So the next morning, you get up, you drive on up there. And two of you come up, and you pull into the front of the mountain radar station. Same basic drill. Like, I'm sorry, folks, you can't kind of come up here. Did you guys switch your cars? This is what I didn't want to ask
Yeah.
because
Yes.
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
Weaver
Don't
would
bring
not
the same
have,
car.
What do you mean? How did we switch cars? We like one.
just stole a random other one. Okay.
I would have.
one. I don't.
I would
care.
rent another car.
Okay. You guys
A
drive
convertible.
back. Okay, so last night you drove back an hour to Charlotte, rented
Yes.
a car, drove all the way back. Fine, that happens. You go.
Our
up the
characters
mountain.
are smarter than us.
Same
You
model,
go to
same
the
color.
mountain. Same. It's-
Different license plate.
What are the coincidences? What are the coincidences? So you go up there. They come around. They're like, I'm sorry, man. This is private property. They were doing some very important and very dangerous tests up here. I can't have you up here. If you got lost, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
This isn't a
I'm
tourist
absolutely
venue
sure
or
you are.
nothing.
And she just kind of starts talking over him. I'm sure you are doing very something important. I'm going to have some questions about that. And so she kind of puts her badge up. Here to see Dr. Horowitz.
And he looks in kind of close and he's taking a look. Yes, ma'am, agent. And what does it say on your badge? Do you actually have like what's your name? Like what's your? Do you go by Agent Fuller? Is that what this is?
Yeah.
Okay. And so she's like, yes, ma'am, Agent Fuller. And looking over towards Agent Weaver. Do you have an fake FBI badge?
Yeah,
I think
unless
we
you got
all had-
confiscated, it was the original one I requested.
No, I think because we established before this, we all had time to like.
Okay, you had time.
Get
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. He kind of makes a motion, and one of the security guys, starts pulling the gate open, and you guys go. You can go ahead and park by Fleet Corner over there by the other trucks, if you don't mind. And you can see you park over there, and we'll fetch Dr. Horowitz for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And he said, as they're walking away, a couple of them exchanging, like, what the hell is this about? I don't know. That kind of thing. Eventually, though, you do see a man come out of that concrete building in his, again, 50s or so. He is wearing, again, like this sort of disheveled looking lab coat, like this white lab coat, when he approaches the two of you. And he's like, FBI, okay, I'm Dr. Horowitz. Is there something I can do for the two of you ladies?
Certainly hoping so. This is you seem to have a lot going on here at the moment, and some problems. Things not going particularly smoothly.
No, everything's going just fine. Everything's just fine. Why'd you say otherwise? You're talking about the weather. No, nothing. No. Fortunately, we have some.
Oh, hey. Are you you busy? Preoccupied?
Tour the facility. He speaks really loud so that like the security guards can hear. Oh, sure.
Absolutely.
Happy to give you no problem. And he's just like,
it's a required part of my investigation.
And he's like, okay, and he starts moving around a bit here and there, and he's like, well, these are our radar dishes right up here. We're working for the Air Force, kind of speaking really loud every now and then. And he's just kind of wandering about. And he's wandering about a bit here and there. He kind of takes you inside one or two buildings. And then at a certain point when like no one else is around, and he's like, listen, you're not FBI. Right? You're not FBI. Come on, we don't have time. You're not FBI.
Tell me what you need to tell me. We don't have time. Tell me what you need to tell me.
You with the program? I don't know what they're calling it these days.
Yeah, out with it. What the hell's going on?
Okay. And then there's some great views back here, and so
lovely. Yeah.
They can't hear you when you whisper. He's like, why do you keep repeating? Because he's like shouting it out. You're just like whispering to him. He's like, don't convince me. My name's Dr. Walter Horowitz. Yes, there's something kind of strange going on. Yes, we are responsible for the weather issues, and we've had some trouble and trying to fix it. I was in Majestic. We need to get down that route. My history doesn't really matter here. But I know the program when I see it. There's not the first time some fucking idiots with the stupidest story you could possibly imagine tried to come last night, so I'm glad the intelligent ones of your cell come out today. Listen.
Bringing new folks, always gotta, how it is.
Right. Anyhow, listen, we are not working for the Air Force. We are not using these satellites. This is not what it appears to be. We are researching a artifact, BMA-10. Okay, it's they dug it up in Turkey, the late 90s, and anyhow, we've been testing it. We've been basically subjecting it to a variety of electromagnetic frequencies. There are symbols around it. The locals at the time said it was something about angered spirit, wind spirit, the usual freaking mumbo jumbo of what this or that. But the point is that we had a little bit of a breakthrough about a week ago. Several, really. When we subject it to certain frequencies, it seems to immediately affect the atmosphere around the facility, except we were struggling with how to replicate the results. We'd put one frequency and another frequency, and sometimes it would be completely different frequencies, and it would trigger and it would go off here and there. A few days ago, we had an incident. One of our technicians, young man, Mr. Frakes, he was in the test chamber when something went wrong. And when we found him, he had disintegrated. And I've tried as best I can to prevent any more testing, but we have a very limited amount of time.
We need to destroy it.
It's not quite that simple. This isn't something you just destroy. You guys haven't fucking changed. You can't just blow up everything. When you blow up some things, sometimes it makes a bigger explosion, and sometimes worse things happen. If you guys would have actually had the rest of your cell acted like fucking professionals, we could have started this last night. But right now, we have reinforcements from Breckenridge and from Daedalus coming here. They're going to be here this afternoon, this evening, maybe. We don't have the time. So,
can you sneak it out to me?
Sneak it out to you? I think you misunderstand. It's not, when I say block, it's not a fucking brick. It is the size of the building. The testing chamber is half the size. It's inside. It's not something you sneak out. We can't put it underneath our fucking shirts. We have not figured out how we can control it. And Daedalus, whoever it is they're sending here to get us the fuck back on track. And I don't want to get back on track because I don't want more people disintegrating, and I don't want to wipe a fucking small town in North Carolina off the fucking map. Yes, absolutely. Sure, we can go check out the, we all stay on base, absolutely. And yeah. So, I'm positive that we can't control this thing. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the symbols mean. All I know is that blowing it up is not the solution. I've been doing some research, and apparently the locals that discovered this were not as, they weren't as primitive as maybe we thought them to be. Listen, I am a scientist. I believe in science, but there were things that I saw in my previous posting, and I know that sometimes these stories about angered spirits and demons and whatever are just a primitive culture's way of trying to understand and make sense of things that they can't make sense of. But that doesn't mean that buried deep within some of that research and text, there's not something there. So I found some information. I dug through some of my old notes from previous, and I think I have found a way to perhaps nullify the object. The problem is that we don't have a great deal of time. The ritual is going to take several hours. Not everyone on the staff is trustworthy. My people are fine. We all liked Lucas. He was a good guy. He has a nice wife. His kid is adorable. But the Breckenridge guys, the guards, they are a problem. And if they get wind of what we're doing, they're going to report it. That's what these guys do. They just fucking report things. They follow things up the chain. They don't think for themselves. So I'm going to need your help to actually complete this somehow. You understand?
Right.
Please say one of you is knowledgeable, that you're not just pencil pushers, that you can do something here.
We will certainly do our best.
Yeah.
Do your best. Do your best? What the fuck?
No, we'll get shit done.
The program has fallen so far. I should have got out in the 90s. Okay. Where's the rest of your team?
Outside the gates.
Yeah.
Outside the gates. Okay. Okay. One of them was posing as a replacement worker. I forged some documents. I've made it so that, of course, that makes sense. They're just beating the Breckenridge and Daedalus team. They're here early. Okay, that's the story. Say it to them.
Got it.
Etc.
Okay.
Okay. He's like, I really wish you guys were here last night. We just don't have time for this. Okay. Fill in your team. Come back when you're ready. There's a section of the fence on the eastern side. You can peel it back. If you time it right, you can get back in without them seeing you. Meet me behind the fleet vehicles in 1 hour.
Great.
Okay.
You've got the paperwork?
I'm not fucking... Just tell them to call for me. Okay? Just tell them to call for me. Just tell them to fucking call for me. Doing everything. And you can tell he's got like big rings under his eyes and he's like hasn't slept in weeks or days or whatever it might be.
Do you have any of the symbols I can look at now? Or can you write them down for me?
Is this like your third job? Fourth? Like what are you, 25?
Maybe it is.
No, I can't fucking write them down for you.
We're here to assist you.
We'll see you in an hour.
Thank you. And he's like, and that's about it. Hopefully you got everything you needed for your report. And like you can just see there's guards moving about here and there.
Yeah, looks good. Thank you so much for your time.
Fantastic. All right. Got to get back to work. All right. Hey, Phil, everything's fine. And Phil eating a sandwich again. Uh-huh. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so what do you guys do?
They're okay on their price.
I don't know. Should we start a fire? Just give them a distraction?
Might need to in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, a couple more minutes.
No, we do
And then you hear
exactly.
knock, knock, knock on the
Yeah.
window. The doctor in there, he's aware of exactly who we are. Is
Someone on the
quite a
inside.
bit stressed about the whole situation. He's been desperately waiting for someone to provide some assistance. He's going to have a
And-
cover story for you in an hour. So, east
Yeah,
side.
so
What does he
of
want
here
us
in
to
an
do?
hour.
Well, Inferno has a cover story. He's going to be, an agent. You're going to wear the uniform. When they ask or if they run into you, just call Hollowitz. He's got your paperwork. You're ahead of time. There's agents, more Daedalus agents coming. We're on crunch. We need to fucking do a ritual to nullify this fucking thing that they've been studying. Because that's what's causing all this fucking problems. And we need to get it done before the Daedalus guys get here.
You get to see the artifact at all.
We will in an hour. But we can't just fucking blow this shit up because apparently that would be even more catastrophic than nullifying it.
What about burning it?
No, he has a plan. We
All right.
have someone on the inside who has a plan. They just need extra.
I've scoped it
hands.
out. There is a gate that they use for smoke breaks quite a bit. There's a chance we might be able to sneak in there.
He told us exactly where to go.
Yeah, there's
Maybe it's the same place.
Maybe.
Hopefully not. East side. There's a way to get in the fence. Back side of the building. He said he can meet us there.
Yeah, by the fleet vehicles.
He said he would have a cover story for you, Inferno. So gear up. He's going to have the paperwork that you came ahead.
Got it.
And she'll sort of look at Weaver. Did he say he was going to have a cover story for Price?
We're the same. He's got us.
I don't
Okay.
know if it's the same, but just fucking fall in.
All right, so we start working our way around the base.
Okay. So the two of you go to the front of the gate. What do Fuller and Weaver do?
I think we're gonna do the sneak in thing that
Okay.
Hollowitz advised.
Yeah, because I think it was all of us were going to. He was bringing
Sure.
all of us back in.
All right. So Inferno, Price, you make it up to the gate, and you can see the guy comes up. Oh, it's you guys again. Find your paperwork.
Yeah, we sorted it out. Horowitz had it. Can you call him out?
Horowitz, huh? Okay, sure. Real popular guy today. Phil, can you grab Horowitz again? He's eating the sandwich and he goes back. You can see door opens up from that concrete building. Out walks Dr. Horowitz. Comes all the way up to the front. And he's like, yeah, it's these are the two new techs. They're advanced team. They were local before, and he's got looks like this what's it called? This clipboard in his hand, and he's kind of like flipping through it. They're on Thorpe's team. Sent word ahead. They're gonna come in with us. They're gonna figure out why the machine's not working, right? And Phil's like, okay, sure, that sounds good. And he continues to kind of eat his sandwich a bit. Thorpe's team, huh? Yeah, they're on Thorpe's team, absolutely. So this year, this is Peyton. This is Sean Peyton. This is Parcells, Bill Parcells, William. Yes, he points the two of you. Interesting. All right. Well, sure. If they're on Thorpe's team, I guess they can come on in. Bill, Sean, welcome to Bowman Radar Station. Go on in.
Thanks, chaps.
Chaps.
I give him a nod.
And
I
as you
sigh
guys
it.
are walking-
Inferno again.
As you guys walk away, you just hear Dr. Horowitz is like, what the fuck was chaps? What? Okay, never mind. Okay, come with me. And so, yeah, you're going to be working in here. The machine's inside. We definitely could use your expertise. He pulls the door open, and you guys go inside this concrete building. Agent Weaver and Fuller, what are your stealth scores?
30.
31.
Okay.
You failed
30 and
before. You've gotten
31.
a little bit better.
With the bonus from them basically being a distraction, you're able to peel back and sneak on into the fleet section. Meanwhile, Inferno and Price, you go inside, and he kind of takes you through, and he's like, okay, do any of you have experience, mathematics, science? He's looking at both of you.
I know.
I've got a bit of experience with demolitions. That requires a bit of engineering.
We're not blowing it up.
I know narcotics.
You know narcotics.
It's best I got.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I'm working on
Listen,
trying.
let's skip the sass. We're gonna help you. We get the job done. Just tell us what you need. It'll be done.
I need somebody who is a little bit more capable than I. What are your skills? Tell me your skills.
You don't
Beat
want to
someone
know
up.
my skills.
Our doctor's in the back.
Your doctors. Okay. Okay. What I'm going to need. Can you guys write something? Is that possible? Are you capable of writing something, or are you just meatheads? Do you just want to hold guns out and make sure no one closes on the test chamber when we start performing the ritual?
Or else I can write something.
Excellent. So if I give you a little script, you can take a piece of charcoal and you can start writing on a wall or on the floor or any other surface that doesn't have any of our.
Hey, I said you tell us what you need. We'll get it done. We'll write your chalk, charcoal, whatever it is.
Okay, this way. And he takes you down this hallway, and eventually you can see that there are a couple other folks there that are kind of looking up. And Dr. Horovitz is just like, it's okay. They're gonna help. They're here to help. They're here to help us. And they're like, okay. They kind of look up, and they all look very tired and very nervous. And you can see that there is it's almost like a recording booth, where you can see like there's a big window into a protected chamber, and you can see that there is a massive stone block. It is enormous. It has got to be 20 feet tall. It's got to be 30 feet wide. This thing is just huge. It is gigantic, and it is like this big stone center of the room. There's a handful of different devices that seem to be equipped to monitor it, cameras, readings, such and such. You can see all of the people that are in this other room that's like, that's looking through the window are kind of messing around with these various little pieces of equipment and such, and like they're kind of getting readings and stuff off of it. Okay, they need to be here because they can do things other than just write little pretty pictures on the wall. So why don't you two come inside? I would have preferred somebody who actually has. Never mind. Work with what you get. Inside. And so he opens the door, and the two of you immediately feel this sort of gust of wind just buffet you backwards. You just kind of fly. You just sort of step back a little bit. And then as you step into the room, assuming that you do, it almost feels like you're pushing against a heavy wind to get inside. And when you look up, you can see that you are just the smallest thing you can possibly imagine compared to this thing. It is just enormous. And each of you, and both of you, kind of feel like this small little thumping, like in your heart. You can just feel your heart just begin to just start to pick up pace. It's not normal anxiety. You can feel like something is affecting you. And he's like, here. And he starts handing. He's like, here, take this. Now, since we didn't have time to go over proper procedures, I don't know entirely what's going to happen, but I'll say this. You're going to take those pages, you're going to take that charcoal, and you're going to write it on every single surface, not on the stone. And when you look at the stone, by the way, the two of you, now that you're a lot closer, you can see written into it, there are all these different shapes. They look like God knows what, hieroglyphics. They look like numbers. They look like letters. It is dizzying. And I just want you to write them. Things are going to happen in here more than likely. Whatever this is, whatever we've unleashed, we're trying to push it back into the bottle. And I don't think it wants to go back in. So what you're going to do is you're going to write this, and whatever happens, just keep writing. Okay? Simple enough?
You're in the dock.
He turns around, he mumbles like, I'm a fucking expert in hypergeometry, and I got these. And he just starts mumbling away. Outside, Agent Fuller and Agent Weaver, you are hidden currently amongst the various trucks. What do you two want to do?
He told us he would meet us out here in an hour, right?
Yeah, you can. I mean, he said to come back in an hour. So I'm assuming when you guys went and talked to Inferno and Price, that was the hour. So like you guys are back.
Yeah. He didn't point us in what direction to go when we got in here, did he?
He told us that there was a building and we were supposed to meet him on the backside of the building. So we're basically just keeping an eye out to make sure that, kind of to Agent Price's point, like, people are out smoking cigarettes or whatever. We want to make sure that we're not caught before he's able to kind of retrieve us and bring us back in. So just kind of keeping an ear out, keeping an eye out.
Okay. So shortly after that, Inferno, Price, you guys both start writing.
I can write in chalk, yeah.
An idea of what
it's not chalk, it's charcoal, just so you know. It's very important. There's a big difference. Okay. The two of you, unless you want to use chalk, if you would like to use chalk, Stephen.
For goodness.
Does he have colored chalk?
I don't want
the plain white chalk. I want like the blues and the pinks and the pastels.
So the two of you just start writing stuff all over the room. And he steps out. Now I'm going to see if I can fetch your the rest of your cell. Okay. And he turns back saying, are you armed?
I've got to go.
Good. And he goes out and he looks around and he comes outside of the concrete bunker again and he pulls a cigarette to his mouth. Hey, Phil. Training the new guys, huh? And like Fuller and Weaver, you can kind of hear that. And Phil's like, yeah. Bill Parcells and Sean Payton, huh? Guess they didn't like football anymore. I don't understand. And he's like, yeah, I figured you wouldn't. Don't worry about it. And he turns around and kind of starts walking back towards the gate. And then he's like looking, Horowitz, he's sort of looking over towards the fleet vehicles at this point. And he's like,
and at that cue, if it's clear, quietly. Yeah.
Okay.
And so the door, he like opens the door and he's like still watching, and the two of you slip in. And he kind of goes to the same rigmarole. He brings you in, he shows you to these people, he takes you inside, kind of goes to the same thing. Please tell me one of you is learned.
I'm a medical examiner. I know biology.
Does it look like medicine. I need to perform surgery on a human being in here?
I know rituals. I've participated.
Okay, thank you. Finally, excellent.
I misunderstood what you meant.
So, and then he starts showing you these symbols, and then he starts rattling off all this sort of different information about them. And he's just going, and he's talking about how he's like, when they first found the Abbey block, Turkey, 1997, they found all these symbols. On the symbols you can see now, they were interest was peaked back in the day, but anomalous weather patterns. We didn't really put two and two together. The locals talked about a demon spirit, an angered spirit. You can see that locals would obviously think of this as some sort of hieroglyphics, but we clearly know differently. There's something more to that, of course, right? There's something mathematical in nature about these items. What do you know of Cortis? Do you know of Cortis? And she's like looking at you do not know of Cortis. You have no idea what the hell he's talking about.
No.
Okay, well, there was definitely some alarm that the numbers, the patterns that we were seeing, embedded within some of the iconography. It was indicative in some ways of his equations. And obviously, as you might expect, and he's just going on and assuming that you're understanding, that alarms some folk. Anyhow, so what we're attempting to do here, we're attempting to, well, my theory is that whatever was inside, whatever spirit, entity, power, energy, whenever we were poking and prodding with the electromagnetic field, something was leaking out. Something has gotten into this plane, and we are trying to now patch up those fractures. And not visible fractures, he calls out to like Price and Inferno, but those that are not necessarily visible. Do you understand? Please tell me one of you understands.
I have the idea. Yes, the idea. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the more we do this, the more we start bringing in these equations and feeding it back into the stone itself, I believe that it's not going to want to be resealed. So it's going to fight against us. We need to continue. It's going to buffet us, more than likely. Violence might ensue. Be careful. We've lost one man trying to do this once already. Do you understand?
We found the remains, yes.
And so he gives you, Agent Fuller, he gives you, Agent Weaver, another one of these big old charcoal pens. He gives you this sheet, this tome of all these different equations and numbers and images. And he's like, just write them in order. Mind you, do not. They have been drafted in a particular and very precise pattern, and they must go exactly as they are written. Else, this could backfire. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes, very much so.
And they just begin to start going. Okay, are any of you asking questions, doing anything, or any of you not doing what you're told?
I think Lisa would go with it. Do I recognize, are any of the symbols similar to what we witnessed in that one house? The museum house? Cypher's house, I want to say?
Roll an occult test. You're doing this quickly. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, this is not something that you're lingering on too much, but you could...
Oh, yeah, I fail.
You need to take more time to study. Like, you're just writing so fast, you're flipping.
Yeah,
you're going
she's
through
just...
tomes. Okay. All right, everybody's doing what they're
exactly
told.
as written.
Yes.
As told.
He's lost in the sauce, so I'm following the recipe.
About an hour in, with all four of you, all five of you, including Dr. Horowitz.
Which, if we had the chance to get lab coats, so the Fuller and I look similar to the other operatives, instead of just our normal clothes that they saw us in earlier that day, just in case someone walks by, that's something that Weaver would have snagged.
Okay. You presented yourself as FBI, though. So would you want to now try to...
Oh, no, never mind then.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's up to you. Okay. So you guys are all going on. About an hour in, that buffeted wind is noticeably heavier, and you can see that swirling around. All of your hair is beginning to stand up and wave around. Your shirts, your clothes, anyone who's wearing anything baggy is starting to wave. Your eyes are drying out as the wind's buffeting. An hour later, you start to see some of the equipment in here flies and rips apart. You can see the cameras and the various lasers and lenses that are being used to study these things and measure this thing begin to rattle and become loose. You hear a loose screw start flying around and bouncing off the walls and smacks into one of you, and one of you gets a cut on your cheek. An hour later, you see the panels on the floor begin to rip up. You see the stone itself almost... For a moment, as one of you looks, you almost see it begin to bulge in a way that seems imperceptible and impossible. It's stone. It's a concrete. It's impossible for anything to go. I am going to need, from the four of you, an expenditure of willpower, total of 15. You're all participants in a ritual. Your assistants here. Horovitz is basically leading it, but I would want 15 from all of you. 15 in total, like split between however you wanted.
How far can you drop before negative effects happen?
It's
Two.
like 2
I think
or something?
2. As long as you're above 2, you're okay.
How are you guys all on willpower?
I have 9
11.
total.
I'm at 9.
Okay, I have 12.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
so
if everyone
us.
puts in 4, one of us puts in 3.
If that's how
Okay.
math
I can
works,
put
that
in
works for me.
6, so Luca doesn't have to take as much.
I'll do 3 then.
I can,
There's
So
another
Luca
option
does
too.
3, the rest of
I
us
can
do
put
4.
in.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. There are other options in terms, but I doubt you would want to do it. It's like paying in power. You can kind of like expend permanently a point of power for instead of doing willpower. But if you guys have willpower, I assume that you probably want
Yeah,
that since that
yeah.
regens. Okay. Another hour goes by, and at this point, all of you are having trouble standing, and you're sliding, and you're having to grip onto each other here and there to keep from flying away. The stone is beginning to. You can see it's almost grown in size. All of you go ahead and make a sand at this point, as you're in almost like a hurricane unto itself. You're seeing wind. You're seeing bits of debris as all this different equipment has started to break off, and you're just getting pelted with it. Everyone make a
failure.
save. Okay.
Success.
Failure.
Success.
Okay. Those of you who succeeded take 1 point, as this is pretty strange what's happening here. Okay. And those of you who failed, give me a second. We'll get to that in a moment. About half an hour or so later, as it's almost impossible to stand, and you have filled the room up entirely with these charcoal scribblings of mathematical equations coupled with hieroglyphics, covered with poetry, covered with languages that don't even seem like languages. The most disturbing and inexplicable thing begins to happen. You watch as the very writing that you put on the wall begins to peel away from the wall. Each line, each image, each glyph, all of it just peels away and gets caught up in this churning, this wind. And you can see as it does so, it gets closer and closer and begins to swirl like it's in a blender until it's right up against the stone. And the black charcoal writing sticks against it. And then another line goes, and then another line goes until all of the writing that each of you have put peels away. And you hear above the wind, like just screaming, "Keep writing!" And when you look over, you can see that Horovitz's face is just cut to pieces. As you can see, he's bleeding left, right. He's got cuts on his face, on his arms, and he's just, "Keep writing!" And he's doing the same thing too, but he's also shouting out some sort of language that you're probably unfamiliar with, Sumerian or some Mesopotamian like ancient language. It sounds like something not spoken of today. And that's when I'm gonna need. We'll make it Weaver. Weaver, you can give me the roll. Weaver, make an occult roll for me. And this is not.
I do have higher
to
occult than Weaver.
Okay, that's fine. You can.
No
so
offense.
you can.
Ashley, if you want to make the roll, you can.
It's not for
what?
pass or fail. It's just to see whether or not I'm going to give him a boost, because he's going to make the roll. The NPC's going to make the roll.
I've got 40 to her 34. And I'll take
Either
the
or,
total boost.
whichever.
Both of you can make a roll, and for each one of you that succeeds, he'll get a bonus. I'm going to post it. This isn't exactly how
I
rituals
failed.
work, but
78.
I got a 3.
It's you.
Ashley, a 3.
Nice rolling.
okay.
Awesome.
That's good, because he was going to fail if you didn't do that. Because I actually rolled
Shit.
very poorly. It's at that point that all of you hear the same horrific screeching that you heard when the storm came. But it doesn't just come and go. It echoes all throughout. You see the glass between the testing chamber and the monitoring station breaks and rips free. You can see shards of glass flying there. You can see the people who are on the other side of the glass suddenly get sucked up into the wind itself, and you're literally in a tornado at this point. All of you begin to start flying and sort of moving around. Everyone loses their hands at this point. And let's see. Each of you go ahead and take 2 points of damage. And I need who is that? That's Price. Price, you take 3 instead. That's when, as the screeching goes on for days, you hear like the sounds of voices. Kind of like, what the fuck is happening in here? And anyone who looks out, you can see like one of the Breckenridge Guards guys is out there. It's Phil. His sandwich is floating around in the wind. He's like, what the fuck? And then he kind of gets swept up in it and starts swooping around. And after an eternity of this screeching that's just making your ears bleed, there's a poof, and everything goes black. All of you fall to the ground. The wind stops and you slam to the ground. When you look up, you can see that all of the charcoal writing is gone. That what had peeled and slapped against the side of the block has now basically faded, sort of absorbed into the stone. And you notice how there are cracks this time, physical cracks, and you can see oozing out of it, seeping, is this strange sort of caustic fluid that just drips down. Very fleshy at this point. And I need Inferno. You're going to take 2 points of sanity loss. And then Weaver. Oh, God. Weaver, you're going to take 7 points of sanity loss. There's a D8.
Oh, gosh.
And that's going to be... And again, you guys can push this off onto... You're going to attempt to sort of push it off into bonds and such. But that's 7 points. As you get up and you realize with horror, Weaver, there was something in there, and it's seeping out now. Whatever it was, whatever that massive block was, something was inside of it. Something was screeching, and now that something is bleeding and weeping out. So, do you want to push any of that sanity loss to avoid going insane? As you
Yes.
over 5 is bad.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely going to push some off.
Okay.
What do I need to roll for that?
So you can if you're trying to put which bond are you gonna put it off onto?
That's 7. Let's say my Bradley, my boyfriend.
Okay, so you're going to, if you're trying to project onto bonds or repress insanity, so when your agent loses sand, you can spend willpower to reduce the loss. The amount of willpower lost is 1d4, so you need to roll 1d4. And let me know what you get.
3.
Okay, so you can reduce your willpower by 3, and you can reduce the sand loss by 3. Are you still above 1 willpower? Do you still have at least 1 willpower?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have 5.
All right, so you're at 4.
No, that's what I have left after.
No, I meant like you end up taking 4 sand loss, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think 5 is the bad number. And
I
then
do think
2,
it's 5.
And then it's 2 if you have a some sort of issue right now. Do you have any kind of
No.
What am I thinking of? Okay.
Is it disorder?
Yeah, disorder. Thank you.
Oh, that would affect me.
But you didn't take 5,
took 2.
right?
Yeah, I took
You
2.
took 2. Do you want to push it off onto a bond?
Yeah, I'll attempt to push it off then.
Same deal.
I'll
It's a
just roll the same
D4, and whatever number that is how much willpower you can spend.
Okay.
And how much.
I can do 1.
Okay, so you'll reduce it to 1. So you took
Push
1
it off
point of
to-
sanity loss. Yeah.
My partner.
Okay.
Ex-partner.
And so as you guys get back up off the ground, you look up, Agent Weaver, maybe it's because you're putting 2 and 2 together. You can see what's happening. seeping out of here. Inferno, Price, Fuller, everyone on the ground. You can see there's broken arms, broken legs. You're not the only ones who took damage. You guys then realize it's extremely quiet. Like you've been buffeted for so long with wind, with sound. And then you do actually hear something. You hear as you hear the sound of a helicopter outside. What do you want to do?
We need to get
Gotta
the
go.
fuck out of here.
Is that it? Is it over?
And
Yes, we did what we needed to.
You see Horowitz gets up and his face has just got 1,000 cuts on it. His body's got 1,000 cuts. It looks like he just lost 30 pounds. It's over. And he falls forward. His head smashes on the ground.
Good enough for me. Let's get out of here.
Pick up Horowitz, see if we can take him with.
Yes,
Okay.
agreed.
I'm going to grab him? Sure.
Yeah, I'll grab him.
Okay. So you grab him. You get to the exit from the concrete room. You can see all the different people are getting up. Like, what the fuck? Just having Phil's like yelling at one of the other workers here, and they're like, "What the fuck is happening?" And they're like, we were running tests. Everything. It just something happened. You know how it is. Just stuff happens." And so like it looks like he's trying to turn his body to get Phil to keep his back to you guys as you start to drag Horowitz out. Where the fuck is Horowitz? Where the fuck is he? Horowitz! Walter, what the fuck? As you guys get to the door, you open it up and you can see in like this small little clearing, kind of like in the middle of this base, in between some of the buildings, you can see there's a helicopter coming down. It's got that what looks like Breckenridge logo on it as it's coming down. You can see a handful of the security guys are like there, kind of their heads are down, they're like waving it in. It's dark out. Like that's how long the ritual literally took hours. And you can see them landing. As they land, there's a man in a suit who gets out, and he's got like a windbreaker on, but you can see the tie. And then you can see there's a handful of dudes with actual like assault rifles popping out. And they're getting a debrief right now from one of the security guys. What do you guys do?
We're parked nearby. Can we weave our way through?
You can try to go back out the way Fuller and Weaver came.
Yeah, that was my thought, is go kind of that
Sneak out,
way. And
yeah.
then, go
now,
through the brush.
Inferno and Price, your vehicle is within the base because you guys drove up, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise it would have been like, oh, we just walked up.
That's true.
I'm fine leaving it, I think.
Yeah, I think we have to leave it at that point then.
Okay. All right. So the four of you go, and you're trying to with Horace. What's everyone's stealth? Who's got the worst stealth score?
Minus
30?
16.
16 is the lowest. Anyone lower than 16?
I'm 70.
31.
Certainly
Okay.
hope not. Good gracious, Long, you got 16.
I'm carrying
Agent
it.
Inferno, give me a stealth test.
Please
and
take
this-
dice.
Yes, please.
Do
That's
some
not
of that
Long's
trademark
way.
long luck.
That's not Long's way.
One
I'll
clutch.
take a 1 instead of 2.
Hey.
So I needed 26. I rolled a crit fail.
Oh,
55.
crit fail.
It's not clutch. It's not clutch.
That's not at all.
You guys
Someone
head
get this
over.
man help.
I was going to do that, actually. I was going to, as you guys are weaving through the fleet vehicles, you get over to the fence. I'll say, Fuller, Weaver, Price, you get through. But then right as Inferno, you're getting ready to hand Horowitz over to maybe Price or whoever's on the other side. He stirs like, ah, did it work? Ah, ah! And he starts screaming at that point, and you hear people shouting, and they come running over, and you're, and Horowitz is like panicking at this point because he too suffered sanity loss as he's like, ah, ah,
I would have knocked him
ah.
the fuck out as soon as he started screaming.
In the fiction, Ashley, I did say you got through first. If you want to say you're on the same
okay.
side of the fence as him, you're welcome to say that. That does mean, though, I'm going to fire.
No, I won't
Okay.
do that then.
All right, so he's screaming really loud. It's too late. He critical failed.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
even knocking
Yeah.
him out, all it's going to do is knock
Yeah.
the guy out. It's not going to
Yeah.
suddenly not alert. And so they're going to come rushing in your direction. And so you hear the sounds of, we'll say, two guys with big old assault rifles are starting to run in your direction. He is like panicking, like the way like a person who you're trying to save from drowning is like even though you're trying to help him, he doesn't know it, and he's freaking out. He's having a moment of temporary insanity. Inferno, what do you want to do?
I'll shove him over the fence. Take him. Get out of here.
Shove him over the fence.
Yeah, to the others on the other side.
Just shove him over. Okay.
Just leave him.
Okay.
At least you're the uniformed one. So
Yes, you guys are the uniformed ones. So like you could be.
I want to point out, I said after the thing that Inferno was the last one to go. Everyone else got through. Inferno was about to hand him through the rip in the fence to you guys. That's where we're at with the critical fail.
Yeah. I'm pulling him through and handing him to Agent Fuller and Agent Weaver.
Okay. So
and then I'm
Fuller,
drawing my gun.
Weaver, you see. So Price, so Full and Weaver, you have him. You have Dr. Horowitz. You see you see one of these Breckenridge guys comes around one of these vehicles, and he's just like, hands in the fucking air, or I will blow your fucking head off, as he holds the gun up in your direction. And then you see a second guy starting to weave around the other side of the vehicle to kind of pincer you all. Inferno, I'm giving you the first action. You just handed off. Fuller and Weaver, you have Horowitz. They can see you. It's a wireling fence. They can still see you. You guys are a handful of feet on the other side. Price, you're in the process of drawing your gun. Inferno, you got a gun pointed at you. What do you do?
I'll put my hands in the air.
Okay. Ground! On the fucking ground!
I'll slowly lower.
Okay. All right. Okay. And so then the other one sweeps around. Rest of you, ground! On the fucking ground! And they were holding it up. What? We'll start with Price. Price, what do you do? On the other side of the fence.
I start running sideways and I shoot at the guy pointing at us.
You start running sideways?
Like
Okay.
to
He's
draw the
strafing.
fire away from Weaver and Fuller is what I'm saying. Like
Okay,
alongside
you're
the
strafing
fence.
away. Go ahead and roll a gunshot. You can go ahead and roll an attack. Absolutely.
All right. I'm actually decent at least, guys.
Okay.
I need a
The
92
crit
or
fails
less.
in this game, and Delta Green just in general, they just come sometimes, and like everything
God
goes.
damn it.
It's just, yeah.
I rolled a 3. I only needed a 92.
Okay. Absolutely. What's your damage?
I am using a Smith & Wesson 645. For those of you who enjoy Miami Vice, you would know that's what Sonny Crockett uses. D10, 6. 6. Yeah. 10% lethality.
10% lethality. So do you know how you know what that means?
Did that mean I kill him?
What did you roll in your attack?
3.
Okay, so and it has a 10% lethality rate.
Oh my God.
I think I'm reading that right.
I think yeah. Let me look at your weapon.
Current
Is that
lethality
if you get
10%.
under 10, they're dead?
Is that what that means?
Yeah.
I totally know
it
how to play this
does.
game.
You literally just one-shot this guy. Hang on, let me double check
Hot
something
damn.
really fast just to make sure before I say he's dead.
Jeff, you already said it. No take
It's been
backs.
so long since I've carried a firearm. Like, I don't
I know,
remember how
right?
that works.
Let's see,
Last time I
attack.
pulled out this gun, I ended up shooting myself. So
Okay. So
Yeah, that
Bryce,
was bad.
the guy swings around. So the second one, not the one who was getting in front of to come down, but the second one swinging around and getting a beat on you. But you just bring the gun up and even though he's decked out in body armor, and if you had done just 6 points of damage to him, would have taken no damage, you get him right in the face and his head explodes against the back. However, that means that the other guy quickly turns and fires in your direction, and he screams out as well. Like, man down, hostile! They're just kind of calling random shit out. Okay, so this is at Agent Price.
this is your chance to run, Luca.
I have an MP5 that I'm using. Let's see. And I have.
We're in
I don't.
danger.
You are very much in danger.
Have I mentioned that my jacket is bulletproof?
That is
Your
a
white polyester jacket.
that is a success on my attack. The lethality does not go off. Unfortunately, I did not roll under 10 on my attack. So
Unfortunately,
I am just going to roll my damage. Well, actually, wait a second. We're doing this wrong, aren't we? I'm trying to remember.
Trying to look it up.
12 points
It's
of
been so
damage.
long.
Okay, so basically what happens is with lethality, you roll, and then if you would roll under what the lethality rating is, then you kill outright. If you don't, you add up the number. So let's say hypothetically, I roll 42. That means I do 6 damage to you because it's above my 10%, but I still get to add those 2 digits together. Do you understand? So I roll a
Sort of,
lethality check.
yeah.
Okay, let's start over because I'm not even sure if your lethality worked out. We're walking it back a couple steps because I remember how to do it now. I'm sorry, I totally fucked this up.
I'm
You
reading
shot,
it right
you
now,
hit
too.
with a 6. You have a 10% lethality rating. Now you have to roll a D100. That's what you got to do. So roll a D100,
and I need a 10 under.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what you need to do. Sorry about that, everybody.
That's a 50.
Okay,
That's
so
enough to roll.
you're not actually going to kill him, I'm afraid to say. Instead, you do 5 points of damage to him. As
Do you add them together?
you add them together, so it's a 5 and a 0.
So a 0 is a 10.
It's a 5 and a 0.
Add the 2 dice as if they were individual d10s. 0 is 10.
0 is 10.
Page
Okay, so you do
57.
15 points of damage. Okay, so you might actually kill him. Hang on.
Nice.
So he has 6 points of armor. And so how much total damage? It was 15?
15 total.
You don't kill him, but you get him in the neck instead of his head exploding. You get him in the neck, and blood bursts into the back, and he just dives back down for cover behind. He's still alive, however. So that is he's got that. The other one, however, takes a shot at you.
Was
He
successful.
hits you for 6 points of damage, and
Okay, that hurts.
you get one back. Now, Fuller and Weaver, what do you want to do?
Fuller has 0 weapons. She's got like unarmed attack and maybe
And
like
we
a
have
knife.
Horowitz. Are we running?
So we're running. Yep.
Okay. So at this point, let's go into actual initiative order to make sure that we're doing this correctly, because that was just sort of happening. So Price, you have your gun. So what's your dex score, Price?
It is 16.
What's yours, Inferno?
My dex is 70 or 14. I give you the percentage.
Yeah. Fuller, what do you got?
15.
Okay. Okay, and then what do we got for Weaver?
13.
Okay. So next up, then, so am I saying? Are we saying Fuller and Weaver are dragging Horvitz out into the
Yeah.
mountain? Okay. All right. So the 2 of you begin to do that. As the one that gets shot is slumping down. He's not dead, but he is slumped down, trying to get cover behind the vehicle to get away from Price. The other one's shot. He's out in front of the vehicle. Inferno, you're down on the ground as well. So Price, you're actually up. You're actually up first. So you will get to go before them. What do you want to do, Price?
I'm sorry, I just read this. If I was reduced to 2 HP, which means I'm unconscious.
Okay.
Oh,
Price,
fuck.
you go
I'm at
down.
exactly 2.
Price, you go down. You're on the other side of the fence, though, and so I'll say, sorry, this is so clunky. You go down. Fuller and Weaver, you start to drag Horvitz away, and that's when you saw Price fall. So would that have changed your mind over what you wanted to do?
I think Weaver would have just fully grabbed Horowitz and kept going to give Fuller the opportunity if she decided to.
Okay. Fuller, what do you want to do? You see Weaver just grab me. You guys can talk to each other too. Like you can say whatever you
Yeah,
want.
like,
so.
and Weaver will be like, fucking get him.
Okay. All right. So, what do you want to do then,
if you
Fuller?
don't want to, though.
I was just like, Melissa, go
You don't
fight
have
them.
to.
I know you've lost 2 characters, but I've only lost one. So go.
You can just run with me.
Yes, I'm running.
Okay, so the 2 of you are running away with Horvitz. Okay. Inferno, you see an exchange of gunfire. You see Price is down on the other side of the fence. You see one of these two heavily armed MP5 wielding guys is grabbing his neck. Hostile weapon, one down. Kind of calling and blood spitting up. Inferno, you had started to move down to the ground. What do you want to do?
There's no like, because fighting people is hard if I remember in combat. Like, there's no way to like really knock people
It's
out.
awful.
What do you mean? I did fine.
There's an opening. I want to slip away and just start running like behind cover.
Yeah.
Kind of building.
Let's say go ahead and roll. Let's see how well you can either. Let's just roll an athletics test. Just roll an athletics test to see if you can race out as far as you possibly can.
Athletics. I have a 38 in that. I rolled 56.
Okay. So you're not gonna you'll get outside the fence, but you're not gonna get so far that they're not gonna be able to shoot at you. You run a great distance, but you're off a ways now. You haven't fully caught up to Fuller and Weaver as they started to descend down the mountain. Then it'll be in Fuller. I'm assuming Fuller, you're continuing to move and starting to evacuate.
Yeah.
Okay. One of these contractor guys is going to step out and under the fence, stand up, and try to take a shot at Inferno, who's running away. I will give him I'll give him a penalty as you're basically running into forest at this point, so it's not going to be as easy for him to hit you. Okay. So yeah, I'll give you basically like partial cover, so to speak, as you're around trees and such, like a -20 to a shot. That's an 85, so he will in fact miss, but as you run and right as you dip behind a tree, the tree explodes as the bullet that was meant for your head hits the tree instead, Inferno. The other one will get up at this point and we'll start moving around to secure Price. Okay. Fuller and Weaver, you're continuing to run? Okay.
Yes.
Inferno, are you continuing to run?
Yes.
Okay. So I think then one more round of him trying to shoot at you guys. That is again going to be a miss with a 68. And so again, another one of these explosions as the trees, as the 3 of you trying to carry this random scientist, but not your team member, down the mountain. How does it make you feel, Steven, that they were more willing to carry a random dickhead NPC scientist to safety than your character?
I mean, he was nicer than me, so I guess I can't blame them.
Okay. At a certain point, you still hear the gunfire, etc. Lights start shining up behind you as if they're starting to search and look around. And I would like somebody in the group of the 3 of you to either roll a stealth, or if you would like, you can roll a survival. One of those 2.
Those
Mine are
are
bad
the
in
same
both.
for me. 30, 31.
30.
Someone give me a roll.
I'll
Someone just
roll.
call out and say you're going to roll it.
Because, all right. Crit success 22.
Okay. At a certain point, as you're running Inferno, you feel a hand suddenly grab you and yank you into this hollow, and you realize it's Fuller. And you see there's Fuller, there's Weaver, and there's Horvitz on the ground. inside of some kind of hollow. There's trees all around. There's debris from when the storms came through. You hear the sounds of shouting. You hear the sounds of gunfire, and it runs past you. And you realize that you guys are extremely well hidden, and they just begin to start fanning out, and you start hearing voices far in the distance, left and right. And as that fades away into the night, into the darkness, we're going to end on that with the three of you hiding with Dr. Horovitz while a wounded and unconscious Agent Price is being taken into custody by these Breckenridge guards. That's where we're going to end tonight, and we'll figure it out for next time.
I just want you all to spend the next 2 weeks remembering that I fought for you.
Yeah,
You did. True. You did. I think I missed that you were within pulling distance. I didn't think you were within pulling distance. I would have.
I did say several times that everybody but Inferno got through the fence. Several times. That's Melissa, though, Steven. She's lying. Just so you know.
You told me earlier today she doesn't like me, so this is just proof of it.
I think you already knew that, though. She constantly asks me, she's like, why do you like him? He's so mean to you all the time. And I say, what are you talking about? He's not mean to me. And she's like, no, he really is. I'm like, no, you're out of your mind. You're crazy. I don't know. You guys are weird. All right. That's it. We are all done. This is amazing. So you guys succeeded at stopping this weather stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
We did.
Hey.
Pound sign case solved.
And you got away. 3 of you got away. Move along, right?
Let's do the next case.
Okay.
I think that's been sort of the statistic of kind of like how
we lose someone every case.
So weird. I saw what you were typing, Steven, in the chat earlier, but I didn't have a chance to respond. But it was hilarious. You're like, all we had to do was just go up to the scientist guy and show our badges, and that was it. And yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah.
How
Jeff was just desperately waiting for us to say hello, and we're like, no, we're not doing that.
It's one of those moments where we just like open the door to go through it, but we don't do that.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I said to Melissa, I'm like, we're going to do a short shotgun scenario because I want you guys to get a good win. You know, I want you to feel like you got a good win, feel some good confidence, just get it done. Super straightforward. Nothing too crazy with it, you know.
I'm feeling confident, man. I'm feeling confident.
And now Agent Price is nearly shot to death. You're carrying a scientist for some reason with you, and you're hiding in a hollow on the downside of a mountain.
I considered him being in the know and losing sanity as a risk to leave him in the hands of all of those other people, because
we could have killed him.
Say some things.
Could have killed him. Yeah. I mean, hey, listen, you made some decisions for sticking with them, and now I will figure out what the fuck to do. But I have 2 weeks to do that, so let's just go ahead and call it there.
That's how every Delta Green session ends. Jeff's like, I'll figure out what the fuck to do. I'm having a blast.
I didn't expect you fuckers to get here. I'll figure it out.
It'll be fine. Listen, like, you guys got the job done.
We got the job done.
End the sentence. There's no reason to put additional qualifiers after that sentence. You got the job done.
You did just tell us you gave us a very easy case.
I did.
And one of us is still captured and dying.
There's also something very important that you guys forgot about the case from the very beginning, right? Little detail you guys forgot that would have really helped you in this situation.
Oh fuck! I'm gonna have to go.
You guys were given access to a green box, and you were told try not to blow this one up.
We went to the storage unit too many times last time, so I didn't want to go again this time.
We were like, fuck it, we're gonna avoid
Weapons galore there. Grenades, explosives, assault rifles.
I had grenades, damn.
A sweet Delta Green agent would be. It's so fun. It's so fun. Hey, it happens. Whatever. It's still fun. It's still fun. And you know, I got to shoot Steven in the face, so there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. All right, let's get on out of here. Let's do some closing plugs. A couple things going on. First of all, we have a new Discord. I'm going to mention that again, over and over again. Not only that, but we're doing a giveaway on our new Discord. If you join within the first week of it going up, you get entered into a wonderful giveaway by our good friends at Norse Foundry. So if you're in the Discord by February 8th, we're just going to draw a random winner by the time we play some Werewolf that night. And you have the potential to get an awesome gift certificate and buy some cool dice and dice-related needs. Melissa has dropped requisite links in the Twitch chat, and I will also put them in the show notes and stuff for YouTube. So hop on over, come hang out, come say hi. We got some cool games coming up. We just today made some decisions on some of the games that we're going to be putting on the channel in March. So we're very excited to talk about that. And so you can get on the ground floor some campaigns that we're doing. You can also see, well, Steven, what else can they do on the Discord?
Hey, so Jeff has been very nice to let me have my own little corner of the Discord where I am playtesting my own tabletop RPG system. Project working name is Huckleberry right now. It's a Weird West game, action horror. If you saw the Haunted West game we did, it's the same vibes as that, but it's much more actiony, plays a little bit closer to Savage Worlds. If you feel like playtesting with me, playing some games that I run, jump in on the Discord, and that's where you can do it. I will be running quite a few games in the future, so you'll have plenty of chances.
Fantastic. And other than that, our next game is tomorrow. Call of Cthulhu. Come hang out for some more Eternal Lies. Monday, we have the finale of our Monster of the Week game. If you would like to come see how that ends. Tuesday, normally, well, that used to be Marvel, but Steven's taking a couple week break because he got some complaints about him. So we're put him in a timeout, and so Aaron is going to step up and run some games for us. Running our good buddy Pete from Garblag. He's got his own game up on Kickstarter right now, and so Aaron's going to give us a little preview of it. So if you want to come see what that is all about, and maybe give Pete a back, come check that out on Tuesday. And Steven's going to be there. So I probably shouldn't have said that because I want people to show up. Thursday, then we got Werewolf the Apocalypse. And next Friday, we have Warhammer 40K. Go ahead and check out the YouTube page while you're at it. Adventures in Lollygagging. Thank you everyone hanging out tonight. We're going to go ahead and raid our good friends over at Defenders of Cobalt. Why did I say it so weird? That was weird. So follow, raid. We'll catch y'all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.